Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
You're only as good as your last job. Now, obviously, this episode is directed at coaches and consultants and people that are in the entrepreneurial realm who are looking to build a business that's profitable and enjoyable. And I understand that a few people might find this episode a little bit confrontational, especially those that were brought up, with the essence that everyone is a winner. I would want to, stake my claim in this whole space and say that you get paid in direct proportion to the value that you bring into the marketplace. Not because you're marketed to the people, not because you've got a website, not because you've got a podcast, or not because you've got pictures of the internet. People will pay you as long as they know that they're getting intrinsic value from the work that you're doing out there. So this is why you are always only as good as your last job. All right. And I'm going to be taking you through both sides of the coin, why this is imperative and very important, because I know a lot of people come to me and they're complaining, Prosper, I've been calling my potential clients and everyone is hanging up in my face. And I'm like, listen, do they know you? Do they trust you? Do they even know of your existence? All right. I'm out there every single day putting content out on my podcast. What have you done in order for people to understand who you are so that when you call them, they can recognize your number or your voice or your name and give you maybe 5-10 minutes to have a chat with you? And some people come to me and say, oh, you were talking about email marketing. We've been sending email marketing, hundreds of emails without getting as much as, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. Of course. Are you being valuable to the people that you're sending work to? And with the content that you're dishing out, are you actually helping people by helping them, or are you just sending them emails to promote your business? Because people like buying stuff, but they don't like being sold to. And you might be saying, oh, yeah, we've tried all the digital marketing and we're wasting thousands of dollars on ad spend and not even generating any qualified leads. Of course, it happens because you haven't done the work. You haven't done the initial education that clients need in order for them to get to know you, like you, and trust you. And one other thing that other people don't want to hear, which, they get offended. And I don't mind if you get offended or you switch off this podcast today. I'm a bit salty. Why? Because a lot of people are putting out second-rate work out there. They're putting out mediocre work out there and expecting people to pay for that. No. That doesn't work anymore these days. Our customers, our clients have so much choice out there. The globe has opened up. All those people in third world countries that now have access to a computer can do the job cheaper, better, faster. So if you are not creating value, if you are not educating your audience, if you are not actually putting out your best work out there, grand opening, grand closing. You see, the reason why I'm saying this is because I trusted another copywriter to create, content for my client, and I did an extensive onboarding with my client, got as much information from, that client, and I passed on that effort, to the copywriter. Okay, so this is my client's time and my time, and this is my client's, IP and work, which we all put together in a nice little PDF, which we handed over to the copywriter so he can make sense of that information and write words that sell based on what my client had said. And what did the copywriter do? They just went on and passed on that work as if it was second-rate information that they didn't actually even look at. You see, when I'm busy with other work, I sometimes outsource my artwork, my copywriting, or my content creation work to other digital marketers out there. And working with project partners, I often have to read the copy that has been submitted by my partners and some of these freelance copywriters. And here's the shocker. More often than not, some of these people are handing in garbage. Like, seriously, garbage. And if you give me garbage, do you think I will be able to then work with you in the future? Absolute rubbish that people are creating out there. And if you're a coach, consultant, or small to medium business, if your work is not being put on a mantle or some sort of, your client thinks it's a trophy that they're paying for every single month, you're wasting everybody else's time. Not only your client's time, but your time as well. Because if you're a copywriter and you don't, write words that sell, then what's the point in you actually having a business? The work that I was given this morning was rubbish, and it's prompted me to want to have a chat, especially with you. And if you think it's okay to pass on mediocre content out there, you are up there with the rest of them. The work that was submitted today was utter rubbish. You want to look at the work that you've been presenting to your clients or to your partners. Is this the work that, if God forbid something happens to you, that's the last piece of content you're putting out there? Will this create the legacy you want to create, for the rest of your life? I mean, maybe the opening is weak. Maybe the flow doesn't even work. Maybe there are factual errors or spelling errors. But how can you have spelling errors, and how can you not spell correctly when you have, the onboarding paperwork that I gave you there? And maybe part of the offer description from the brief is missing. Maybe the headline is just plain wrong. How do you get it wrong when you have half of the, research work already done for you there? I kid you not. It was terrible. And clearly it needed a bit more polish. And if you look at the copywriter's website, you would think, wait a minute, they are really good. They are presenting themselves as an authority within this space. But they needed a second and a third draft. It was as if, my 3-year-old is the person who wrote that, piece of content. You think I'm joking? I'm not. I see this again and again. And in fact, I see unfinished, unpolished copy more often than I see well-crafted, error-free work out there. Why are people handing out mediocre content? Why are people publishing, work that doesn't spell what exactly it is that they are hoping to achieve? The bottom line is most coaches, freelancers, consultants, copywriters fail to hand in their best work. And this is insane. You know why? Because you'll be judged by what you send in to your clients. Right now, look at this. We're 7 minutes in, and I'm just talking about the one person who could have gotten it right. You see, we have a lot of leads coming into our business. We have a lot of work lined up for him. Do you think I am going to give her or him, work tomorrow? You get judged by how you present yourself to your clients. And it's immensely frustrating, especially for your clients who have spent the time, money, and effort trying to get it right, and the person who's now delivering the work just sits on it. I can understand we're coming in from a long weekend, but that's not an excuse, because excuses sound best to the person and the woman that is saying it out. Because you know what? Clients, they often know, what you're capable of. Clients have an expectation that you are the expert in this whole thing. And they don't understand why you would send anything less than your best. I mean, maybe you're thinking, hey, Prosper, sometimes we send a draft just to get feedback before we move on to the final draft. But that may sound like a reasonable excuse. I mean, from any logical person, but I think it's just an excuse. And like I keep saying, excuses only sound best to the man or woman that's saying them. I mean, if you've got any questions you need to ask your client, ask them. If you want clarification about certain aspects, ask them before you accept the job. But when you send them a weak draft, in the hope that it will make things better. Everyone is a winner type mentality. You are meant to be the expert. You are meant to be the person who's directing the whole content flow. And if you start bulking at position 1, at ground 0, do you think you can handle all the other work that we've got lined up for you? That's what people are paying you for, to lead the way, not to be shown how to do certain things. If they wanted somebody to, show how to do certain things, they'll just go on Fiverr, wouldn't they? Yeah, but Prosper, I have a lot of clients and tight deadlines. I can't spend forever on each project. Wrong. Well, you don't have a lot of clients for long if you're sending in second-rate work, my friend. Let me ask you a question. Don't you have the pride in your craft as a coach or as a consultant or as a copywriter or as a writer, a content creator or as a videographer, that you want that each single piece of work that you put out there is a billboard to show people who you are and what you're capable of? I mean, don't you feel good when you send work that is maybe less than your best? Do you actually feel good when you send, work that is less than your best? Does it feel okay to do that? Do you feel okay to just send haphazard, subpar work out there and hoping that, whatever, I don't care? That's complete craziness. It's madness. And as the saying goes, you are as good as your last job. And if your last job was second rate, and so are you. Don't expect people to give you a second opinion. You only have one opportunity to make a lasting impression. I mean, work for fewer clients and spend longer on each job if it makes you produce high quality work, so you can hand in your best work every single time. People are paying you money, bro. People are paying you money, sis. So don't just put out work just for the sake of putting it out there. At the end of the day, do stuff that you absolutely love, not just doing it for money because it then shows. Do things to do them, not to just get them done. I mean, there are a lot of situations, in life that we sort of dread. And for example, if you have to maybe clean something, or, you have to write a piece of content, your mind immediately races to, oh, no, I can't wait until this is done. Instead of you dreading to do something until it's done, take it as an opportunity to fully invest yourself into the work that you're doing. You might learn something. I mean, this might sound silly, but it's such a simple way to reframe your mind that will make everything you do much more enjoyable. Do work that matters for people who care. And guess what happens? People will give you more and more of the stuff that you're doing well on. And eventually that becomes your branding. That becomes the name you're known for out there. I mean, like I said, do fewer projects and do them well. And as you build your reputation as a coach or a consultant who actually submits great work, you'll be able to then charge higher fees, which then compensates for the mediocrity that you're putting out there. Picture this: fewer clients, better quality, high fees. That's the model of how it actually works. You don't need 500 clients when you're going to be doing mediocrity work out there, because those are 500 reviews that are coming on your website. How are you going to cater for that? Doesn't that make much more sense? Fewer clients, better quality, and higher fees. And believe me, with so many coaches and consultants submitting second-rate and unfinished work out there, there's a huge opportunity for you to actually brand yourself as a coach or consultant who cares, who always delivers on their best work. And this now creates, that void in the marketplace where people are really looking out for the work that you're doing out there, because everybody else is putting out substandard work, which gives you an opportunity. Always do your best and then watch your best get better. Because half of the time when we start this work, we're not really keen, on the actual outcomes or whatever it is. We just want to get clients. And once we get these clients, we need to find ways of maintaining them. And one of the things that, maintains clients is good quality work. I mean, we've always heard the statement, always do your best, whether it came from your parents or your teachers, your sports coach, always doing your best, maybe a cliche motto that's, anchored throughout our lives. But what does it actually really mean as a coach or a consultant? What does it mean to do your actual best? And is it even possible for you to always do your best? Of course it is. You know why? Because at any given moment, we have an opportunity to prove ourselves to the people that are going to be paying us. This is why you need to identify the target market you need to work with, clarify the message you're going to be putting out there, and determine how you're going to be showing up in their space. Without just spraying and praying out there, hoping whoever shows up, in your marketing space is the right client. And then you end up doing, mediocre content out there. So many people have been, told that failing is okay. I can understand. And there's so much that's happening in our lives right now. But what does it really mean to do your best? Because doing your best is synonymous to living out each and every moment to its fullest potential. So the moment that you were writing out mediocre content, you were not living your best life. So you're lying to yourself that this is what it is that you're doing. And this potential actually exists in every situation that you encounter in your life. When you sit down and you're writing work, and when you sit down and you're talking to your client, when you sit down and you're talking to your kids, when you sit down and talk to your wife, when you sit down and you're talking to anybody else, make that the best thing that has ever happened, first for you and then second for the receiver. That way you are definitely living your best life. All that's required is not for you to fight the fact that you have to do, the best always, or fighting whatever life throws your way. I mean, doing your best is not about, say, maybe meeting expectations or meeting spec. It isn't about success or failure or whatever the level implies to your understanding of doing your best. It's just about putting all your energy into whatever life situation you're currently experiencing. Whether you're writing, whether you're talking on a podcast like this, look at this. Like, I just went in to this podcast just predicated on the fact that I was hoping to pass on a really good piece of content to my client, but now I'm going to have to redo it all over again. But then I thought, wait a minute, this could be a piece of content that could actually educate somebody, even though I'm going through a tough time this morning, but it's a coachable moment. I'm not saying the person has failed, but they just didn't apply themselves to do their best. I mean, seriously, thinking about doing your best is not actually, doing your best. At any given moment, you really want to take advantage of any situation that you put yourself into and do the best you can. I mean, take any opportunity in life as a new adventure, because connecting with that piece of content for that content writer would have actually got them to learn new things about a new industry that she might not have known is in existence. It might be, an opportunity to connect with a new client on different projects that he might have access to just because you wrote a really good piece of content to start off with. So take any opportunity in life as a new adventure, even if it's something that you've done 1,000 times, even if it's something that you think they just want to see a draft or maybe some sort of a sample of the work that you're doing. Let me tell you something. If you go into a shop and they give you a sample of a sausage or a sample of a sauce and maybe it's too salty or it's not as yum as you would have thought it is, then are you going to go and buy the packet that they're selling? No, you wouldn't. Would you go and buy the sausages that they're selling? No, you wouldn't. Everything matters. The way you present the product matters. The way you initiate the conversation matters. The way you speak on the podcast matters. The way you write, your content matters. Even if it's something you've done 1,000 times, it's the first time that person who is receiving that product is for them. Take your time, really understand what the thing that you're supposed to be doing entails. You are only as good as your last performance. This is the most powerful mindset in business right now. Because when you understand it, it actually boosts your productivity, it increases your confidence, and supercharges your results. You're simply as good as your last performance. Look at everything that you've done this morning. That email that you just sent, that podcast that you just recorded, that content piece that you just wrote, that text message that you just sent. Is it something that speaks of who you are and how you want people to perceive you when you are not there? That's branding. That's marketing. And why is this mindset so powerful? And why am I so agitated on this? Because I really wanted to give this person so much work pretty much after that. Because I want to assign them with all the content that has to happen with the client that I have. But they've butchered that. They've wasted my time. They've wasted my client's time. Because when you learn that your last performance, is you're as good as your last performance, your road ahead is always filled with potential. Always filled means never ending. And never ending potential is just another way to say endless potential. And it gets even better, because you're always free to bury yourself in maybe your last unsuccessful performance, but it's an opportunity for you to learn, right? And once you do better, you eliminate fear. You eliminate any controversial doubt that somebody might have about the work that you do. And it propels you into the next stage. Right now, do you think I'm going to invite this copywriter to work with us? I'm maybe guilty of things of that nature. Maybe this podcast is just unwarranted but guess what? It works. This mindset literally gives you the freedom to produce your marketing, your coaching, your training, your consulting, your information, or just about anything without the fear of failure crushing on you, because now you have an understanding that whatever I'm doing is the best I can possibly do at that particular time. And when you embrace this idea, let me tell you something, that each performance is an opportunity for you to improve, and that any sort of maybe bad performance that you might have can be buried under any great one that comes after that. You are free to blow the lid off your potential. How are you going to know how good you possibly can be if you're not going to be doing your best every single moment, if you're not going to be applying yourself every single moment? I'm going to repeat this again. You're only as good as your last performance in business. And there's a few real world examples. It's not just with the copywriting, of the way that you can embrace this mindset to help yourself have a business that's profitable and enjoyable. If your last public speaking opportunity didn't go as well as you hoped, learn from it, okay? And make your next performance better, because that talk, is what people will remember. Okay, they're not going to try and go to your website and find out more about you. You are there in front of them. And if you botch it, then how are they going to want to know more about what it is that you're talking about? Maybe your last newsletter. This is not necessarily with you working with people. Even the content you're putting out there, the information that you're putting out there, or maybe your last newsletter or article, if it didn't generate the results that you needed, learn from it. And then don't just ignore it. Okay, put out a new improved piece of content that piggybacks on that, because that's the one your readers will remember. Each and every time that we're out there, we're starting the journey that somebody has on their customer journey with us. So if the first cut that they have with us is supposed to be the deepest, we want to make sure that we're leaving a lasting memory. There's no opportunity for us to have a second impression. So if your last marketing exercise failed to get the results that you needed, learn from it. Make the required improvements, and then bask in the success of your newly improved marketing performance. Because we are only judged, and people judge you out there. This whole podcast is predicated on me judging somebody that I thought was really good at what they're doing. I mean, as you can see, the idea can be applied in extremely different scenarios, in your coaching, your consulting, your training, your information, your expertise. And it actually gives you the flexibility to help you in many and more challenging areas in your business. You need to constantly be on high alert. Is the work that I'm putting out there the best? Is the work that I'm putting out there, going to obliterate my competition just simply because it really is a cut above the rest? Because when you embrace this mindset of knowing that you are only as good as your last performance, right, it actually frees you to give the world a massively better and always improving version of you and your work. Imagine what you would be like if you were just improving yourself 1% each and every single day. And after 1 year, you are 65% ahead of everybody else and their bullshit. And you can just sit there and watch your results skyrocket. Okay, so given that you're as good as your last performance, here's a suggestion. I want you to list some of your last performances, which, you'd maybe think you need to improve them, and then just replace them with better ones. That's a good place to start. I don't know who you are, and I don't know where you are in your journey right now, but there's something that you've just done right about now, which might not have been your best performance. You want to improve on that. Right? I want you to grow your business. I really want you to succeed. I really want you to do work that matters for people who care. And no matter where you are, we've got the tools and systems to, help you get it right. Like this might be a bit of a vent or a bit of a smackdown on the copywriter who didn't do well. But let me tell you something. If you do work that is, going to showcase who you are and how you're literally helping people, people will scream at the top of their lungs singing your praises. But if you don't, guess what happens? People will also just ignore you. And when people ignore you, as a business, you wouldn't want that. As a business, you want that, people are speaking highly about the work that you're doing. People are commenting on the stuff that you've done. Not just speaking badly about who you are. All right? So look at the stuff that you've done. What have you done lately that warrants you to say, you know what, this is my best work ever? Because if you're just pushing out work just because it's easy for you to do that, then grand opening for your business and grand closing. And you never know. You will never hear somebody venting their spleen on a podcast because maybe you're not invited to hear the feedback. At the end of the day, I just really, really, really want that everybody understands that I was not angry or in any shape or form trying to belittle what you're doing. But what I'm just saying is, when you do work that matters, when you actually present your best work out there, people will take notice. Life will take notice, and life will start presenting you with opportunities that will put you in, to start working with the right kind of people, with the right kind of pain, and actually have the best stuff coming out there. Because if you invest all your energy into the moment and away from thinking how that moment could be better, it's actually a practice that could improve all areas of your life. If you're just doing stuff for money, guess what? People are going to notice. If you always invest all your energy, to do stuff that really matters, and it also involves you staying in the moment, becoming fully present. And your mind takes away a lot of fear. You become less dependent on, external validation because you're putting your best foot forward. And if people don't give you work, how else are you going to get more work out there? Because once you start putting your best foot forward and doing work that matters, you're helping your clients get results. All right? And you literally deliver outstanding results for your clients. And once you are putting good results out there, you win your clients' loyalty for life. And customers will always sing your praises to their family, to their friends, to their colleagues, and at barbecues, and even strangers on the bus. Can you imagine if this podcast was me being excited and happy about the work that I received? And once you do that, you start generating hundreds of qualified high-ticket leads like clockwork. So you never have to rely on maybe cold calling or emailing just to beg clients to work with you. Your work will speak for itself. If you got anything from this podcast today, don't hand in garbage. There's a lot of professional coaches and consultants capable of producing outstanding work, but they're just submitting garbage. Maybe you might not realize, get somebody, a close relative, a team member to have a look through your work at least before you hand it in to your, people that you're supplying your work to. Because you might have a whole podcast episode dedicated to you without you realizing it. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au